I'm Roger Grossman, along with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. How are you?
Good. Summer's over.
So,
We're in August.
What?
Summer's over.
Really?
Yes.
Summer is over. Oh
Summer's
no.
over.
It flew by.
It did.
It flew by. Now, I don't know whether that's because the market was so good or actually for me, I know what it was. It's having a boat and driving to
Yes.
St. Joe every single weekend,
Yeah.
which, it was great for me this summer because there was no new inventory on the weekends. So we didn't have much to show on the weekend.
Yeah, nice.
So, and I've got great folks in the office to back up if I'm not around. We've got backup, which as an individual agent is always tough to do if it's just you solo. But we've got a great crew. Folks support each other, and it's pretty helpful. So, but you're right, summer is gone. So, with summer being gone, last week we talked about is the market slowing, and I did at that point mention to sellers, hey, you haven't missed the boat, you've missed the peak, but it's still a good time to be selling. What should your thought process be if you are thinking about selling? My common theme is what's your why? Why are you selling? If it's to take gains out of the years that you've worked on a property, maybe you've owned something for a long time and you're thinking, man, I could really take advantage of this market. If that's your why, that's your why. It's a good time to do something like that. But what I always counsel sellers is, where are you going? What's your plan? What's your plan? If you're going to sell, what do you plan to do afterwards? Well, we're thinking about getting in an apartment. Well, in the Warsaw market, apartments are available, but you're going to sign a longer term lease. Yeah, you're not going to get a month to month while you make a decision about what you're going to do. So, evaluate your why and then implement a plan to take care of that why is what I counsel sellers on.
And that takes some real communication, especially if you're a couple or a family. That's a pretty long family meeting.
Yeah, because it's going to impact everybody. If you've still got kids at home, obviously, are you going to have to change schools? Because fortunately in the Warsaw School District, school of choice, I think Wawasee, Tippy are the same, but you don't get busing or transportation. You've got to get your kids there. But if on an older couple that's maybe been in their house for a long time, it's a big change going from a house where you maintained the yard and had all your own space to, okay, we're in a duplex or in an apartment complex. A little bit different game. So think about those things before you put your house on the market, because you may be surprised, because even though the market is slowing, things are still happening very quickly. You need to be ready. Be prepared for what's going to come next.
Do you see a lot of people come through your office whose kids have just gone off to college, move because now it's just them, and the kids, we will make do in a new house with less space? Or do they wait till the kids are out of college first?
I think I'll be non-committal, I'll be the it depends guy. But, I think every situation is different. But there are some that, hey, we're down. I've heard this. We are downsizing because we're not going to give them the option to come back.
Sure.
They've left the house. There is not an option. They're putting pressure on them to where, you know what? We don't have a place for you. Mom and dad have sold. It goes back to that, was it the Matthew McConaughey movie where he was a yacht salesman or something like that?
Yes.
Terry Bradshaw was his dad. I'll just never remember the naked room. Matthew finally moved out, and Terry Bradshaw made his naked room. Well, that's a bad visual. You don't want to see Mark running around. But, everybody's got a different purpose. Some people will say, you know what, this is our family home, this is where we're staying, we're never leaving. We're going to be here. I don't care if the kids have grown up and gone off to college. We want to give them the opportunity to come back. My wife and I are kind of in that shape. right? I have been the, hey, we should take advantage of the market where we're at, because what do we need this, our home, this size home, with just two of us and a dog? We should sell, take advantage of where it's at. Can't convince the boss to do that. So we're staying. We're not going anywhere. But we do. We see folks in all different phases, whether the kids have just gone off to college or now they're done and they're going to make that decision. Bottom line, from a seller standpoint, what's your why? Because if you put your house on the market right now, in all likelihood, even though we're saying it's slowing, air quotes, there's still a good likelihood you're going to be homeless in about 30 to 45 days. So you need to make those decisions up front rather than, oh my gosh, we've listed it, we've got an offer, now what do we do? You need to have a plan. You need to have an exit strategy when you leave that house.
And we talk so much on the show about people who are buying houses having that plan, but
Right.
we haven't talked any about the sellers having that kind of plan too.
No, so we're trying to cover that today.
Yeah.
So we'll replay this over and over maybe.
That's absolutely right. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. We're back on Real Estate in Real Time with Mark Skabowski, and I want to share a story with you. My sister recently signed an agreement to sell their home. They'd lived in it for 31 years down in the Kokomo area. They're moving to Delaware to be closer to grandkids. They're moving into an apartment. And so they got about 8,000 more on their house, which was a 5-bedroom, 2-bath house. They got about 8,000 more than they had asked for it. But it was one of those offers where they offered at like 10 in the morning and you had until 9 at night to announce it or the deal was off.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting challenge.
It is a challenge, and again, you need to be prepared if you do put your house on the market, and hopefully you're having that discussion with your agent. If you're not listening to the show, you're having the discussion with the agent. You need to move quickly. You need to be nimble. Just this week, I had an offer come in at 6:40 p.m. with a 9 p.m. response time. We responded at 8:45 and got a counter back at 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Now, we responded with a counter and got another counter at 10 o'clock. Now, I got to tell you, for a guy who gets up at 5 in the morning, 10 p.m. is my nighty-night. So I was still working at 10 o'clock at night, going back and forth. Now, it all worked out. We got it accepted before midnight. But, be prepared if you're a seller doing that. So, to be ready, be nimble, be flexible when it comes to be available, because you're going to need to respond to offers. You are. And even though the market has slowed somewhat, you need to be readily available. And with electronic signatures, and I know there are still those that don't have email, but you know what? My mom and my dad and my in-laws, they are all on mobile devices of some kind. They can electronically sign if they need to. So be prepared, be capable of doing that. So if you're thinking about listing, have your plan, but then beyond that, come up with a list of features for your house, to where when you sit down and talk to the agent, help them sell your house. Tell them the things that are great about your house. Because even though a majority of the folks, we used to say it's location, 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 now it's price, 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 location, location, location. You still need to be priced right, still need to be in a good neighborhood or in a good location, but the features of your house, who knows your home better? Your sister was in her house for 31 years. She knew the neighborhood, she knew the house, she knew the updates that they had done, because I can't believe they lived there for 30 years and it was the same house that it was when they bought it.
No, it didn't change a lot, but it did change.
It was definitely in a different condition than when they had purchased it 30 years ago.
Right.
If it wasn't, it would have definitely impacted pricing.
Yeah.
But, what updates have you made? Have you put a new roof on recently? Do you know what year you put the new roof on? Did you put a new furnace in? Did you put a new air conditioning in? Did you put new windows in? New carpet? Those things are all have a list of those things ready when you are preparing to put your home on the market, because it's going to help the agent market your home. And it's also then going to help you support the value that you're asking for the home. Because if I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times when I walk in. Well, my neighbor's house sold for XYZ. I'm in the same neighborhood. I have 50 more square feet than they are. I should be 20,000 more than what they are. Well, you look at the pictures of the neighbor's house, and it had all stainless appliances, quartz, countertops. It had completely redone the flooring, all new windows, brand new roof, whatever. And you're in a house that hasn't been touched in 50 years. They're not the same. They're in the same location, but they are not the same. So if you're thinking about selling, and even if you're not, it's a good thing to keep a checklist. Keep all the manuals of things that you've purchased. Keep a list of updates that you've made in the time frame that you've made them, so that we can help use those tools to market your property.
The lady that we bought our house from 22 years ago had a full list of every bush and every tree and when it was planted, and we have worked really hard to keep that going, of when we took down a tree, when we bought a new air conditioning unit, when we had the furnace replaced, because that is hugely helpful. If for nothing else, it shows people that you care about your property.
And there's the big thing. There are going to be those that just don't care. They're buying on price, and it doesn't matter to them. However, there's more, I would say, that do care, because it's like when I talk about going in to list a property and I want it in inspection order, right? So Captain Skabowski can come in and inspect it. If you leave your home, or if you haven't maintained your home, it shows. And if you've got detailed records of this is what we did and why, all of those things, so you took a tree out, who cares? Well, the fact that it was over the septic system and could have definitely impacted that's important to know. It shows that you cared and took care of the property throughout the term that you owned it. So for some buyers, many buyers, that's going to be helpful.
If you're in the process in your mind of getting ready to sell, how much information is too much? Is there too much information that you can give out?
Not to your agent, because the agent will sort through and come up with the marketing pieces that are going to be helpful. But personally, I would rather have more than less, because otherwise I'm making it up as I go. And you know your home better than I do. Help me help you sell it. Give me those features, those things. It isn't all about the warm and fuzzies, but sometimes it is. The fact that there's a playground, 3 blocks away, trips a trigger for some people, and others could care less. They're only looking for a place to lay their head. So more information is definitely better than not enough.
Unless you're talking directly to the other person's realtor, then
that's correct.
That's why you should have your own realtor.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Your contact information.
Sure. Our website's lakes-realtors.com. Phone numbers 574-834-1233. Check us out on YouTube. We're out there.
Okay, you've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have a wonderful weekend.